Hey there, South Georgia. This is Sydney Rainwater with WALB, and I'm back here again for a recap on the day's events in court for the Susan Embert murder trial. I'm here with our Mackenzie Petrie, who is in the courtroom all day today, of course, and who has been there for quite a while now.
I was going to say several days at this point, weeks. Several trials, we should say.
And so, once again, it was a pretty big day. So we finally got to closing arguments.
Finally.
Yes.
It felt like it was never coming, Sydney.
Right. So we've got some light at the end of this tunnel now. But before we get into that, two witnesses took the stand today still. So we want to make sure we update you about what happened there. So first, I believe, was a death investigation specialist. Is that right? Yep.
Yes, death investigation specialist. I believe his name was Rodney Bryant.
Yep.
He had several years. He worked for the medical examiner's office, the regional medical examiner's office. That's where he's currently employed. I think he said he's been there for over 26 years. They actually cracked the joke like, hey, so when are you going to retire? Like,
oh, gosh.
So, you know, they try to lighten the mood here and there. But when he got on the stand, he basically spoke about how he's done thousands of autopsies throughout his career. But he did say he's never done one on Mr. William Jake Embert, who is the victim, the alleged victim in this case. So when he was speaking, he said that he never did that autopsy as it was never requested of him to do it. Which also the defense tried to, you know, point out that that is not correct, how things are supposed to be done, because he says that any violent deaths with trauma, gunshot or stab wounds, unexpected deaths, sudden deaths, overdoses, etc., like they're all supposed to be reported to the medical examiner's office. And like we just stated, he did not perform an autopsy on Mr. Jake Embert.
Right.
So and again, he said that did not happen because it was never requested upon him. But again, a violent death, including a gunshot wound, which is what, you know, Mr. Jake Embert died from. So his body should have been sent to the medical examiner's office. And again, he testified saying that it wasn't.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly point out, again, this trial has been going on for so long. Yep. This, the death happened in 2014.
Yes,
over 10 years ago. So
think of the family, you know, 11 years. That's when I speak with the daughter, Rachel Embert. She always says, like, 11 years, like, and it's not because, and these are Rachel's words, she says it's not because there's a doubt of guilt here. She says it's because, you know, just failed inconsistencies. And she says the family sadly is suffering because of that. Right.
So not only that, you've been covering this for a good chunk of that time, right? And so WLB too, but good on you for sticking with these details and keeping track of everything.
The punches, especially, I was kind of telling Greg a little bit of this yesterday, that it seems like a lot of the time is spent outside of the jury's presence. So it's like I'm in there trying to understand all this legal jargon and make sure I'm delivering it right, and I think I am. Yeah. We haven't got any complaints as of yet.
Right. Well, and I have the easy job. I just have to ask you what happened. So, thank you. And I'm sorry, I think we skipped ahead a little bit. Do we want to play that
let's
quote
actually hear some sound from, again, this is Mr. Rodney Bryant. He is a death investigation specialist for the regional medical examiner's office, who testified about how he's done thousands of autopsies, but never one on Mr. Jake Embert. Let's hear it.
Did the Dougherty County coroner ever refer William Jake Embert's death to the medical examiner's office?
Based on our database and that name, no ma'am, it's not in the database.
And if a coroner were to go back and later change a cause of death ruling to require them to refer it to the medical examiner's office, would they still need to do that?
They should, but it's a lot of the coroners has the precedence or the ability to do, because they're elected official, to not to follow that.
So they sometimes don't follow the requirements?
Right.
Okay. All right.
Would you agree that coroners have discretion to amend death certificates?
Yes, sir.
They have a lot of authority, right?
Right.
Okay. Are local coroners perfect?
No, sir.
Were you perfect as a local coroner?
No, sir.
So like you just heard there, I will say throughout this trial, I was speaking, you know, we have a team in the courtroom, and I was speaking to my team, and I'm like, I hate to say this, but I feel like they're focusing in a lot on Coroner Fowler. And Coroner Fowler is not who's on trial here. I understand there could be some inconsistencies, maybe with the testimony, because I know the private investigator for the family, Jake Embert's family, who they hired, you know, to help them investigate, like, was it really a suicide or was it a homicide? You know, when he got on the stand, he said, you know, Coroner Fowler, he was mistaken. He didn't understand exactly, you know, these death certificates that he was looking at because of the date. One that's filed in probate, one that's filed with the I don't want to say the federal, like, I don't know all of that stuff there, but he spoke on how, you know, he was a little mistaken. He didn't know exactly, you know, what was going on just there, or with those documents. And ever since, it just seems like they've been trying to focus in on the fact that Coroner Fowler messed up on something. And as we just heard in this soundbite here, you know, are any coroners perfect? You know, could the investigation have possibly been better? And I'm not just going to say on the coroner's end, but, you know, all around, possibly, yes. But throughout the trial, it just kind of seems like the coroner's on trial here.
Right. I mean, and can you go back a little bit? This comes after December 2025, when a mistrial, I believe, without prejudice was filed.
And that could be, you know, that could definitely play a role. We're not going to ignore that. You know, this is Susan Embert's third trial. The second trial did result in a mistrial because of Coroner Fowler saying the word antifreeze on the stand. But it's like, ever since then, I feel like it's just been like focused in, and I'm like, dang. That's, you know, that's not the main focus here. Right. I just wanted to put that part out there. And that's my own personal opinion, but
definitely.
I wanted to put that out there.
All right, so there was a second witness who took the stand today, Bruce Willis, who is an expert in quite a lot of things. Yes. So I hear.
Yes. Yes. So that was definitely made aware within the testimony. Before I knew it, I was like, dang. He's still talking about what he's qualified for. We haven't even got to what he's going to do, what he's supposed to do for the Susan Embert trial. Very qualified, we can say that.
Certainly. So, can you tell us a little bit about what else he said?
Yeah, of course. So within his testimony, let me pull out my notes here. Within his testimony, you know, he said how he is an expert of a number of things: crime scene investigations, bloodstain pattern analysis, forensic photography. I mean, the list goes on. Literally, the list goes on. And on the stand, he stated that there wasn't enough evidence. Hear me right here, Sydney. He said there wasn't enough evidence to make a final cause or manner of death from what he's received, like the evidence that he's seen from this trial. He does not believe that any of this evidence is enough to deliver a cause or manner of death. Which I thought was very interesting. I thought that was very interesting. So let's just go ahead and play his sound, because I know that's what the people want to hear.
For sure.
Do you notice any visible blood on the hand?
No, ma'am. I do not see any on the hand. I really don't see any on the gun, but then again, I want a better picture of all this. You can't make an informed decision based on this picture.
Could be
involuntary movements, first responders. Of course, what I heard testimony-wise, as far as the dog being removed,
jumping on the bed,
any of those things.
Okay, and it's possible that Susan Embert could have moved that body.
That's possible, yes, sir.
You can't rule that out, can you?
No, sir, you cannot.
In fact, as you look at that scene, you cannot rule out that it's been staged, can you not?
I'm sorry, say it again?
You cannot rule out that it's been staged, isn't that correct, sir?
There's not enough information to draw a formal conclusion as to cause and manner of death of any kind.
Not my question. I didn't ask you.
No, the answer is no. You cannot.
So you cannot rule out that scene was staged.
No.
By the only person that was there.
That's
other
correct.
Than the deceased.
That's
Susan
correct.
Embert.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you heard he was being asked about a staged scene.
Yes, very. And as we can see, it's tense in that courtroom.
Right.
It is very, very tense in that courtroom between the attorneys and the witness and the cross. Like, it gets very tense in the courtroom. So as you just heard, he said, well, as we heard throughout the trials by several expert witnesses, was that the scene looked staged. It was it possibly looked as if, from the photos that they have from the scene, it could have possibly been staged. And as we just heard from the defense's witness as well, he can't rule that out. But we're not just going to say it was Susan Embert. We're not going to just say it was EMTs. We're not going to say it was law enforcement, police.
There's still so many possibilities.
Yes, there's so many possibilities, and that's what I think the defense is trying to get the jurors to understand, that it's so many possibilities. But the state is buckling down that no, there's not that many possibilities.
Right.
The only possibility was Susan Embert.
According to the state.
According to the state, that's what they're buckling down on.
Yeah. All right, and so then closing arguments
Today,
began.
again, like we said, it seemed like it was never coming to an end, but
Right.
we're finally here. We have finally made it to closing arguments. I'm sure Jake Embert's family is ready for this to be over. I'm sure the jurors are ready. Judge Johnson is ready. Attorneys, I'm pretty sure everyone's on the same page. Let's go ahead and get this verdict.
Right. So, I was here while you were in court. I was manning the Facebook live stream, right? And according to that, it seemed like Greg Edwards, the district attorney, spoke for about 45 minutes, which I felt like was a pretty long time.
Closing arguments. You got it. That's the last thing the jurors are going to hear, or the jury is going to hear. That's the last thing. You got to buckle down.
Right. So, what can you tell us about what Greg Edwards said?
So in Greg's testimony, or I should say DA Edwards' testimony, he spoke on a number of things. He spoke on, you remember in that 911 call, we cannot forget the 911 call where Susan Embert gave a reason as to why she believed her husband could have killed himself. And in that reason, she stated that he was possibly gay and he had all these transmitted diseases. She gave all these reasons as to why she believed her husband had killed himself. And the doctor came and testified. He said that wasn't true. And in this testimony, or in the closing arguments, DA Edwards, he brought that up again. He spoke on how she's told several lies, including that one. He says that she needs to be held responsible for what she did.
Wow.
And that's what he said in his opening arguments, and that's how he started off his closing argument, saying that Susan Embert needs to be held responsible for what she did. He said that she set that scene up to make it appear like Jake killed himself. He said the defense is gonna, argue that the investigation was so poor on Coroner Fowler's behalf again, and on the police's behalf, like the investigation was so poor that Susan should be sent home free. That's what he said exactly. And I don't know if it was those words exactly, but he said that the defense is going to portray to the jurors that this investigation was so poor that Susan should go home. But, of course, he's buckling back down and saying that she does not need to go home. She actually needs to be sentenced for the death of William Jake Embert.
Yeah.
And, he said that they're just going to keep arguing, showing that, it was impossible for Jake to have, or they're going to make it as if it was possible, but they're buckling down that it wasn't possible. Susan did it. He spoke on a number of things, including back to the coroner, like the same opinion that I had, that how it kind of seems like the coroner was the person that was on trial here. He spoke on, the coroner's work and how the defense tried to make a big deal out of that. In all, like you just heard it all in closing arguments. Literally everything that unfolded throughout this trial, you heard all of that in closing arguments. So let's just play the viewers a little bit of piece of that sound.
Yeah.
She tells Officer Rogers, Jake killed himself because he did not want his family to find out that he was gay. Perhaps the officer maybe didn't process it immediately. He might have should have asked, now, Miss Embert, what kind of sense does that make for Jake to kill himself to keep his family from finding out when you know, supposedly, that he's gay? The lies are overwhelming. And the lies should compel you to find her guilty immediately. She says she loved Jake Embert to death. Well, she loved him to death, all right. That's what she did.
Now, Sydney, I can't lie. Strong. It was very strong, and I'm interested to see what the defense has to say tomorrow.
Right. Okay, so thank you for that great segue. Yep.
Segue right into it.
So we didn't hear from both sides tonight, closing arguments.
Hear from both sides tonight, but again, I'm interested to see what they have to say tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the is it the state is
Yeah, the state has rest. They have completely gave their case. They've given closing arguments.
Okay.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m. when we start, hopefully at 9 a.m. everyone. I know we always say court is expected to resume at 9 a.m., but hear us out. There's always arguments before court. And it never starts at 9 a.m., but I promise you, we have the camera in the courtroom. We're going to be live streaming. We're going to have all of it for you as soon as we're allowed to.
Right. And so we're starting tomorrow with the defense closing arguments.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I guess what happens next, right?
We're going to find out. And as soon as we get that verdict, we're going to bring it to you live then. We may have a little talk back with the anchors after. I think tomorrow's going to be very impactful, very busy, very busy day.
Right.
And depending on, the verdict, we'll either be hearing from the family or we'll be hearing from Susan.
Sure. All right.
Hopefully.
And
We'll
I'll be sending out as many push alert notifications, so
y'all.
keep those notifications turned on. And yeah, like you said, we'll keep you as updated as possible. Thank you so much, Mackenzie,
thank you for
for all your hard work. But for now, my name is Sydney Rainwater. This has been the recap of the day, and this is Mackenzie Petrie. Thank you so much.
Good night.